Happy Valentine's Day! This is Luis from the EMC, and now that we're talking about friendship and love, some people think that love is irrational. But here at the EMC, we're not scared of anything irrational, not even irrational numbers. So let's define it first. An irrational number is a number that cannot be expressed as a fraction. For example, the square root of 2 is 1.41421356, infinite decimals that doesn't follow a pattern. There's nothing that repeats, which makes it impossible to be represented as the quotient of two integers. The closest fraction is 99 divided by 70, but it's not the same number. And for those who don't remember, the square root is the inverse operation of squaring, which means that when we apply the square root of, let's say, 4, for example, we are looking for a number that when we multiply it by itself gives us 4. So the answer will be 2. The square roots of perfect squares are pretty simple. The square root of 16 is 4, because 4 squared is 16. The square root of 49 is 7, because 7 squared is equal to 49. And let's say the square root of 100 is 10, because 10 squared is 100th. And by definition, the square root is always a positive number. So what should I do when I have, let's say, the square root of 20? In simple words, our objective is to take as many numbers as possible out of the square root to simplify it. So we know that 20 is the product of 1 times 20, 2 times 10, but 4 times 5 looks pretty interesting. When we rewrite it, we obtain the square root of 4 times 5. And we can use a property that only will work for numbers that are either multiplying or dividing inside of the roots. We can split them into the product or quotient of 2 or more roots. And now that we have the square root of 4 times the square root of 5, we can simplify it to 2 times the square root of 5. With a more complicated number, let's say the square root of 25,200, we can use the following strategy to find its factors. And you should have in mind that you need as many perfect squares as possible. We can observe that 25,200 is the product of 100 and 252. And if we add the digits of 252, I will obtain 9, which means that this number is divisible by 9. Now, I can divide this with the long method division, but also I can use some tools to divide this in my mind. For example, 252 divided by 9 is the same thing as 270 divided by 9 minus 18 divided by 9. And those are numbers that I can easily divide by 9, which will give me 30 minus 2, so 252 is 9 times 28. And finally, 28 is 4 times 7. Now let's rewrite this number as a product of 100 times 9 times 4 times 7, and using the same property I can split this in the square root of 100 times the square root of 9 times the square root of 4 times the square root of 7. The first 3 square roots are going to give me whole numbers. Now I have 10 times 3 times 2, and the only root that I cannot simplify anymore is going to be the square root of 7. When I multiply 10 times 3 times 2, I obtain 60, so my answer is going to be 60 square root of 7. So, well, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and once again, happy Valentine's Day to you, my friends.